Hello, thank you very much for coming here. Kasra, for those who are unfamiliar with you, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so my name's Kasra. I have been in the SEO industry for quite a while now. And basically what I've been able to do over maybe the past 5 or 6 years is actually earn money in the SEO industry, and then also invest money into like different SaaS businesses, different agencies. And one thing that we've also started doing in the recent years is actually look at brick and mortar style businesses. So businesses that have a good presence in the real world, but they don't actually have much of a digital presence. And then with like our expertise and stuff like that, I've been able to then basically turn those businesses actually into more online based businesses as well.
And can you share your beginnings?
Yeah, so I started off maybe 8 or 9 years ago now as a web developer, and then I accidentally got into SEO because I basically done like an e-commerce website maybe 8 years ago now. And I spent so many hours building out this e-commerce store. It was initially on WooCommerce, and then maybe after 4 or 5 months of actually developing this website, the website then went live, and the business owner at the time said like, "Hey, you've built me this really nice looking website, but it's not getting any sales. Like, what's happening?" And I said that, like, listen, I think you need to do something called SEO. And he said, "Can you do it?" I was like, "I can try." And that's how it basically all started.
Oh, nice. And after that, what was your first client or your second client?
I wouldn't really say I had many clients after that. I had a lot of business ideas that failed, and along the failures, it did yield me some really good network. So, for example, I remember probably maybe 5 or 6 months after that, I reached out to a guy called Craig, and I know Craig now, Craig Campbell, and I built him out a website, and I basically done it for free just to get some like exposure and stuff like that. But yeah, there wasn't many clients until like maybe the past 3 or 4 years. That was mainly because I was trying to find myself and trying to find like what do I actually want to sell? Do I want to sell web development? Because when I very first started, I did want to sell web development. Now I'm like, actually, do you know what? I don't want to do any web development work. It's a pain in the neck to do web development stuff. Everyone's got a thought on what good design is and what bad design is. So I think that personally, it's not for me. I know that there's a lot of successful web developers that make a lot of money. But for me, it's not something that I wanted to do. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think that there was many clients back then that I had, and that was mainly because I was just bad at business.
Okay, and can you share your actual projects?
Projects I'm working on right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got my own SEO agency, which is just casual-com. I've got a link building agency, which is searcheroo.com. I've got a content SaaS tool, which is autoblogging.com. And then there's a few different like brick and mortar style businesses that I've got as well.
And can you share maybe your revenue just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I can share you Searcheroo revenue, which is like one of the bigger ones. So that probably does on average anywhere between, let's say, 90 to about 200. Again, it depends on like the type of month. Like, for example, when it comes to Black Friday and stuff like that, it's obviously a lot more. It can even reach maybe 250 in some cases. But then obviously if it's, let's say, Q1 Nobody. It seems like nobody spends in Q1. But again, I could be wrong in saying that. Q1 seems to be a little bit dead, but yeah.
And I have questions because I know you are doing some strategies like build first the website and after that try to find a client, and you usually spend maybe 10 grand, something like that. And how do you manage everything?
A really good team. A lot of people think that it's just me, and it's like, no, it's like I don't really get involved in the day-to-day of that business. So that's the rank and rent agency that you're talking about. The day-to-day of that, like, it kind of just runs itself because we've got the core team. So some of the core team have been there for like 8 years now. It's like 12 years, some of them. So they just know fully, like, okay, if we want to enter this niche, we need to do this. We need to build out these articles, this website. We need to host it here. Like, everything is like pretty well done from an SOP point of view. So there isn't much involvement in that unless there's something that like goes terribly wrong, like a website gets hacked or a client wants to spend more money with us and they potentially want to build out like 10, 15 websites. So in that case, that's when we actually, that's when I would get a little bit more involved. That being said, there is like, I do consulting with the actual team. So the team are able to book me out whenever. And if they've got, let's say, a website that they want to speak about, we can speak about it. I can do keyword research for them. It's very much similar to how I would do a consultant call with any client if they wanted to hire me for a consultant and stuff like that. But yeah, there's not much that I do. It's probably more what the team does to keep that business running.
And how did you build this team?
So I'm probably getting a lot more respect than what I probably should. Like James is the one that's done a lot of the team building in that business, because we've obviously got different businesses. James has some businesses that he has himself. I have some that I have myself as well. But a few things that we've done when it comes to like the hiring process is we first of all make certain that like that person, will they actually fit in the team? Now, the team is a much younger team. Like I think there's maybe 2 people that are in their 30s, but then the rest, like the other 10, are all under the age of 30. So when we're hiring new people, we actually take into consideration, is this new hire going to fit into the team, like into the actual mold of the team? Because if they're not, like, let's say, for example, if we hired like a 45-year-old person, not to be like discrimination against like age and stuff, but because there's so much of an age difference in the gap, like some of the jokes and stuff like that inside the office, like the older person might not get and stuff. And to be honest, like I'm trying to sound like as if I'm like down with the cool kids and stuff. But there's some jokes that the guys make, and I'm like, I don't even get that. But yeah, that's one thing that we're looking at. Another thing as well is like the in-house team in the UK. They all have like they're classed as middle managers. So they've all got like people underneath them. So for example, like our tech guy in the office, he might have 3 developers. Our 2 content managers, they might have 10 content editors underneath them. Our link building guy or our off-page SEO guy, he might have, let's say, 25 people for off-page SEO and for link building underneath him. So it's all of like, it's set up in a way where it's kind of like a pyramid approach. So you've got like the higher managers up here, you've got the middle managers down here, and then you've got like people underneath them. And the people underneath them will be like not in-house. They'll be like out of the office. They might be VAs. They might be overseas workers and stuff like that. But That's how we've structured it. And the reason why we've structured it that way is because, let's say, for example, if either myself or James goes to like a conference, or we go to a mastermind or a networking event, and we learn something, let's say it's a new SEO strategy or a new on-page SEO strategy, we can then train up, let's say, 2 people that are directly involved in the business to do with on-page SEO, and they might have, let's say, 20 people underneath them. They can then go and train their little squadron or their little team up. So it basically means that only myself and James only need to, let's say, do 2 sets of training as opposed to 22 sets of training, because there's 22 different people.
What was the most difficult to scale your agency?
The most difficult to scale, I think a lot of people think it's going to be easy to scale an agency. Hiring staff is a difficult one, and keeping staff motivated. Like, a lot of staff, they'll think they can go and do it themselves. But in reality, there's advertising, there's all the finances, there's the actual processes, everything like that. So keeping staff motivated is difficult, but I feel like we've been able to get a lot better with that. The SOPs, so setting up all the SOPs, and I feel like 4 or 5 years ago we were terrible when it comes to SOPs in-house. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what a good backlink was. We didn't know what a bad backlink was. I think maybe 2-3 years ago, we didn't know what good content was. We didn't know what bad content looked like. So yeah, I think the SOPs and the scaling the staff's probably one of the hardest parts. And then if you have a really good product, it should be it should be easy to sell. Like, if it's a product that everybody wants, the marketing should be a little bit easier. So I don't think we've necessarily had that big of an issue when it comes to marketing.
And what is your tech stack?
Tech stack. So for the ranking rents, we use WordPress. We use custom plugins. So I've said on multiple podcasts before, like, we probably only use 2 or 3 different plugins. The 2 or 3 different plugins that we actually use, they are custom coded. So, like, you can't get them on like the WordPress repository and stuff like that. And the reason why we've done that, like, a lot of people might not like hearing that, but the reason why we've done that is because WordPress plugins get hacked. So to try to essentially be as safe as possible, we've decided to code our own. We update our own plugins. So if we want a certain feature, we add that feature into our plugin. And then hosting wise, we use RunCloud. And again, the reason why we use RunCloud is because it gives us a lot of features when it comes to like caching and stuff. So that's the tech stack on that side of the stuff. For like e-commerce and stuff, I think Shopify is probably a better platform. I know you need to pay monthly and stuff like that, but there's a lot of plug and play plugins that you can actually get for stores that just allow you to do like one sell upsells. The cart page just looks well optimized for CRO from the word go. So yeah, I think if you're leaning more towards e-commerce side, I think Shopify is probably a better solution.
And about SEO, maybe some internal tools?
Internal tools. So we've got a custom built tool for disavows, or for not for necessarily disavows, but for looking at toxicity and pinpointing like certain things. But outside of the custom built tools, I'm a big fan of Ahrefs. I know that some people have swayed more towards SEMrush because of the pricing model.
Credits.
The thing is, I see it as, if you're really worried about the credits, because like even the credits, it was like what, $50 or more or something. Yeah. It's genuinely the better tool. I'm sorry, I might change that decision if SEMrush decide to sponsor me. But for me, it's the better tool. The actual UI just makes a lot more sense. You don't need to click around as much. so that being said, I think that it's definitely worth the extra $50 or $60 or whatever it is. And then from a link building point of view, I would be using LRT. So that tells you like toxicity levels and stuff. So we've got like the agency package, which I believe is like 20,000 a month. So when people were like crying over like the $100 Ahrefs credits, we were like, yeah, this is nothing in comparison to what we pay LRT. So that's link research tools, by the way. Then you've got for indexing pages, I use Indexceptional. And then is there anything else that I use for content? Obviously, auto-blogging. And then I think that's it. Oh, also a cheaper alternative to Ahrefs if you guys do want like a better, like not necessarily a better tool, but like a cheaper alternative that does basically the same thing, is Keyword Chef as well. It's all Keyword Chef just gives you keywords, so you don't have like all the link data and stuff like that. So if you guys are looking for like a keyword research, so it's another good option as well.
Okay, and how do you see the future of the SEO agencies?
I think that a lot of SEO agencies are probably going to struggle. It is definitely going to get harder, especially for like what I like to call cowboy SEO agencies, the ones that don't deliver, they promise the world, and then they just don't do any work. And the reason for that is because with the rise of like the AI overview and just with AI and stuff, the SEO agencies that do actually do the work, they're just going to look 10 times better. And the ones that don't do any work, they're just going to look 10 times worse, because it's going to it's literally just going to show in like rankings and stuff. Even if, like, let's say for example, if we were both competitors, right, and if I've went with a cowboy agency and you've went with an actual SEO agency that is doing the work, you're going to just see results, whereas I'm going to look at my results after 3 months and think, why am I not ranking for anything? So I think that that's probably going to happen. So a lot of SEO agencies will struggle. I think that the more people will be able to, or I don't see many people doing this now, but I think that it will be the case in maybe 2 or 3 years' time. I think that a lot of people will rely a little bit more on actual LLMs. So like asking ChatGPT, like, who is Kasra Dash, or so like certain questions like that. And if you don't have a good presence on the actual index of Google, because that's where a lot of the information comes from, the LLMs won't know who you are. So again, if you're trying to future-proof yourself, you can definitely do certain things like that. So like, for example, if we've got an SEO brand and it's called Kasra and Jose SEO, getting mentions of that brand online can definitely help. And it doesn't even necessarily need to link back to your website. It could literally just be a mention about who you are, what you do, services that you provide. And then at least when like the search percentage goes a little bit more towards the LLMs, whether it's Claude, whether it's ChatGPT or whatever you're using, at least those LLM models will actually understand who your business is and what you do.
Okay, I think it's a great tip. Thank you very much. And I have a question about outside the English-speaking world, the Spanish-speaking world. What do you think is the next most important language for an SEO perspective, business perspective?
Oh, that's a good one. Do you know what? That entirely depends on the industry. And let me give you a few examples, right? So in the football betting space, a lot of people backed out of the UK space because they were like, do you know what? It's getting more competitive, football betting in the UK. The actual laws and stuff are like in the UK, they look down upon gambling and they try to minimize it as much as they can because it's very hard to tax as well. So that's another reason why they do it. But then in all seriousness, like, gambling is pretty bad. Like, people can get addicted, so they are trying to essentially stop people losing like hundreds of thousands of pounds every single day on gambling and stuff, right? But in Brazil, it's very much a different strategy. Like, you can make a lot of money doing football betting in Brazil. Other areas is like, for example, India. You could do a cricket website, and cricket is like their biggest sport. So, like, you could go down that route, and you can make a lot of money very quickly. In, let's say, Dubai, you could do like a real estate website. And it could be going after like real estate website, or sorry, real estate in the Palm, let's say, and like one property sold on that is like $2-3 million dollars. So very quickly you can actually gain wealth, especially if like you're doing any of these as like rank and rent websites or potentially affiliate sites and stuff. So it completely comes down to that. Like, for example, and another good one is tourist style websites. So if, say, for example, I wanted to build like a tourist website, I would look at like Dubai's like a really good hotspot at the minute. A lot of people are going to Dubai for holidays and stuff. I would look to build out a tourist website in there, because I just know that there's going to be searches every single month, like quad biking in Dubai, or quad bike rentals Dubai, or supercar rentals Dubai. Doing certain things like that can definitely work. But yeah, it completely comes down to the country. Like, I know that in the Scandinavian countries, gambling's really big. I know that real estate's really big, especially in like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, just UAE in general, Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar. Any of those any of those countries, you go into like the real estate industry, you're going to make a lot of money.
And what do you recommend for a newbies in a rank and rent industry?
Go and fail. Don't expect your first website to actually earn you money, because it's probably not. You might pick the wrong niche. Again, like what I've said at the beginning, like, I thought that business was easy, and it probably took me about 5 years to realize actually it's not easy. I think that it's quite possibly the most difficult thing you can actually do, setting up a business not setting up a business, but setting up a successful business that can earn you money without you actually needing to have much input. It's not an easy thing to do by any means. And a lot of people think ranking rents are brilliant. It's going to be easy. I could tell you 10 different things as to where you're going to mess up. You might mess up on niche. You might not get a client for the website, so you might need to do more outreach. You might pick the right niche, but you actually need to sub niche down. So, for example, if you go after, let's say, cleaning, that might be a really good niche. But if you're just only getting oven cleaning, that's only going to be like a £20 job. Whereas if you get commercial office cleaning, that's going to be like maybe a £5,000 job, because it might be a huge office. So picking certain things like that. If only there was a way that I could snap my fingers and say, right, just follow this blueprint and you're going to have 100% success rate on ranking rents, because it's not the case.
And can you share your future projects?
Future projects. Do you know what? I don't actually have any. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of I get a lot of opportunities where I just turn down, mainly because of like the time involved. Like, there's a lot of like different SaaS products that have come onto the market, and I'm like, do you know what? I don't think I can take that on. Like, it could be like a brilliant product, but I just don't think I've got enough time. But yeah, there's always like new opportunities that are coming up. I think if I had to put a guess, like one thing that I would probably be looking more at is more SaaS products to actually invest in. Because again, like with the rise of AI and stuff, like SaaS, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, people that invested in SaaS, like they were like, yeah, you obviously had to have a lot of money to actually set up a SaaS and invest in one. Now you can set up a SaaS over a weekend. So yeah, I think that one thing that I'm actually actively looking out for is investing into more SaaS products. One thing I don't like to do as much is set up from new. What I like to do now is more partner up with somebody. So, for example, I'll partner up with, I don't know, a link building agency, for example. And the reason for that is because it comes with the SOPs, it comes with the staff, it comes with a little bit of revenue, but it comes with a few problems. And if I look at those problems, I'm like, right, okay, they've got a marketing problem, I can solve that. It's just a no-brainer to invest in.
So, Kasra, thank you very much for coming here. And any last words?
No, I think, well, first of all, thanks for having me. But for the actual listeners, because I always like to give like actionable tips, it doesn't matter if you're looking to set up a web design agency or a rank and rent agency, or maybe you want to set up your first e-commerce store. Just go and set it up, like go and buy that domain, go and do it. What's the worst that can happen? Even if, like, let's say, for example, you set up a Shopify store for 6 months, I think it's what, £25-30 a month to actually do it. So at worst, you're wasting, let's say, £300, a couple hundred on the actual theme, maybe a few hours. But the actual experiences that you'll actually gain from that are going to be a lot more. So the next time you set something up, okay, let's say the e-commerce store fails in 2-3 months' time. The next time you set something up, you already know what theme to use. You already know like how to optimize the store, how to set up the store. So the next time you set something up, it's just going to be a little bit quicker. And it might take you for 2 or 3 times to fail. Like, let's say if it was a rank and rent that you set up, it might take you until like the 5th website for you to go and set up, fail, set up, fail, set up, fail. But then the 4th website, it's like, right, okay, now this is earning me money. Now how do I double down on this? How do I set up a 2nd website? How do I set up a 3rd website? So yeah, go and fail.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that you are not very salesy, but can you share your mentorship, your programs?
Yeah, so mentorship-wise, obviously you can check out kasra-.com, fill in the form. But yeah, there's like I don't want to sell myself or anything, but even if it's not me, let's say for example you guys want more of like a Spanish-speaking mentor. It might be Jose, right? A lot of people, a lot of people, they will hire a personal trainer if they want to get fit, or they will, or like even if you're playing football, right? Naturally, you're going to have a head coach at the actual team. You're going to have a manager at the team, and that person will hold you accountable. That's what a mentor is there for. Like that's what I do. Like I do a lot of mentorship calls and stuff, and I hold business owners accountable. Because even when you are setting up a business, like a lot of the times your staff won't, like if you do something wrong, they might not necessarily pick you up on it or say like, Jose, why did you do that? Because they're scared that you might like fire them, right? But whereas like if I'm a mentor, right, like you can fire me all you want. If you fire me, you're probably just arrogant. But I'm in all honesty, I'm just there to help you. Like there's like I had a message maybe 2 days ago from a couple of Swedish guys actually, and they had like 1 or 2 calls with me. They're having a call with me tomorrow actually, and from the 1 or 2 calls, they've been able to start earning 400 grand a month in Sweden. So like just hearing stuff like that, I'm like, brilliant. They've clearly took action on everything that I've told them. So yeah, like it doesn't matter if it's a business coach or a fitness coach, just get one because they will hold you accountable.
Okay, thank you very much. And for everyone, please share the word. See you soon. Bye.